So this lesson is on the sixth legendary made-up king of the Romans, Servius Tullius, and how he becomes king. He reigns from 578 to 535 BC. Find out some stories about who he was, his origins, and his succession, how he became king. Going to recall the various supernatural tales around him, understand they cannot be true. Mythology. Tanaquil, he's the wife of Priscus Tarquinius, the first Etruscan king. Phallus, a penis, a cock. Subterfuge, secretive, sneaky. Assassination, illegitimate, not following the law. Warlord, a general, private general. Masterna, a name. Anachronistic, something the wrong time, wrong place, doesn't work out. It can't be that, can't be true. It's anachronistic, it's in the wrong time. Right. A few questions here on Priscus Tarquinius from the previous lessons. If you don't know the answers, look in the previous video to find them. Okay. Servius Tullius. There are three stories about who he really was, because he's not the son of Priscus Tarquinius. Story one, a slave in the household of Priscus. As a boy, as he lies asleep, flames appear around his head. Everyone sees this, particularly Priscus's wife, Tanaquil, tells us a sign that this boy is special. So as he grows up, they raise him more as a son than a slave because of these flames around his head. Second story. His mother conceived him as a flaming phallus from the gods, got her pregnant. Similar story to the one you get for Romulus and Remus. Third story. There had been an Etruscan general. He'd been killed fighting, and his wife had been pregnant. So Tanaquil, who is a friend of the wife, takes her in, lets her live in the palace in Rome, and they end up raising the son, Servius, as sort of their son. Of these three, first two are clearly not true. This one, it's possible, isn't it? Right, how did he become king? Quite a murky story, this. So Priscus Tarquinius is king. He's been king for 30 odd years, and he's murdered. He's assassinated by the sons of the previous king, the Roman king Ancus. But he's assassinated during a riot. The twins organize a riot so that they can kill him and make it, no one sees it. There's a lot going on, lots of trouble everywhere. So they kill him and run off. No one's sure he's dead because Tanaquil, his wife, takes the body and takes it into the palace and says, he's not dead, he's just injured. Then she says to our boy Servius here, okay boy, here's your chance. I'm going to say he's wounded. I'm going to say he said you should rule while he's recovering. And in that way, you can be the regent for a bit. And after a while, I'll say, oh, the king's died, and you can just say, I'm king now. And that's exactly what happened. Everyone bought it. Ancus is wounded. Servius is going to rule in the meantime. And Servius is found to have died. So when Priscus is said to have died, Servius takes over and becomes king. Now, this is a problem in the stories. This is illegitimate. This is not following the law. Romans don't have kings this way. They're meant to have kings where one king dies and the Senate chooses the next king. It's anti-democratic. It's seen in the stories as the start of the downfall of the Roman kings. They're acting more like other sorts of kings, not like Roman kings. Right, there's another version of this. Hundreds of years later, one of the early emperors, the Emperor Claudius, was making a speech to the Senate. And he fancied himself as a historian of early Rome. And he talked about Servius, saying, as we all know, Servius, our king, was originally an Etruscan warlord called Musterna, who moved here to Rome with his army and was invited to rule. He just sort of took over. So, and took the name Servius, because it's a Roman name, to get rid of his Etruscan name. Now, there's no evidence for this. It's no more believable than the other stories. But it's definitely a different story, and it's interesting because lots of historians, this woman here is called Mary Beard, she's a famous scholar of early Roman history, and she thinks what this shows is early Rome was nothing like these stories. It was nowhere near as well organised as it sounds in these stories, with senates and votes and all that business. It's much more like small towns just being taken over by any bunch of mercenaries and their warlord who's strong enough to rule for a bit. And when they die, somebody else takes over. Yeah, that's a possibility.